entry is the second word. Burr, B-U-R-R, entry. 2 words. So there you go. Rearrange those letters and you should have the answer to today's Name the Place quiz. If nothing else, you know you don't have brain fog. 80295. But it's something that most of us will have had at some point, or is it just me? You know, you wander into a room and you think, why did I come in here? And then, of course, brain fog is what we blame. Is it really a thing, and what causes it? We've got clinical psychologist Dr George Baldwin with us, who specialises in neuroscience and psychology. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve for dealing with it, thank goodness. Good morning, George.
Hi, Kaye. Thanks for having me.
No, not at all. We've also got Kate McKnight, who's a busy mum, business owner, a lot of plates spinning, and knows that feeling all too well. How are you, Kate?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, so when we say brain fog, you're nodding your head, yeah?
Absolutely, yes. Brain fog for me is just that total mental overload of trying to juggle everything in my life.
Yeah. So when does it hit that you think, oh God, brain fog?
Honestly, I think I live in a kind of permanent state of varying levels of brain fog. Like you say, juggling a busy work life, and then I've got a 4-year-old daughter at home. So there's always lots to think about, always lots to remember, lots of things at work and at home. So yeah, kind of constantly trying to keep everything in my brain. Yeah,
I mean, so do you think it affects your function? Because, I mean, you've got a lot going on. You know, it sounds like, you know, potentially a lot of stress, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. But, you know, is it inevitable that you're going to feel overwhelmed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your brain function is impaired?
I suppose there are some days when it is, you just sort of carry on as normal. Like you say, most people have a certain level of stress in their life, and I think you just kind of learn to live with that. I guess there are other days when that feels like it is just getting a bit too much. You do feel completely overwhelmed with it, and it does start to affect things like trying to keep on top of everything, trying to remember everything. So I will forget things, or almost have that fear, like that anticipation of I'm going to forget something. So there's that side of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, George, I'm being pedantic here. I know I am, but it's just to kind of drill down to what we actually mean by brain fog. I mean, as a clinical psychologist, do you recognise it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the take-home messages here is this is extremely common and can happen to anyone, and that brain fog itself isn't a medical diagnosis, and it is a way that people often describe when they're feeling mentally clouded. So that could be difficulty concentrating, feeling forgetful, or noticing the thought processes slowing down a bit. And absolutely, I see that really commonly within my work, but also just within my own personal life and my own social circle. You see that people experience brain fog with the amount of demands that we have on our lives now. I just heard Kate say how she's a mum to a young kid and a business owner. And I think we know that one of the key things that causes brain fog is that cognitive overload when you've got a lot of stress and likely a lot of fatigue that will go alongside that.
So what is happening in the brain then that will affect function if you've basically just overloaded it?
Yeah, so there's a number of different things that will be happening in the brain. One is just the sheer amount that we might be trying to pay attention to. I think we live in a day and age where there's digital overload, where we're being asked to multitask so much that our attention is getting drawn to so many different things, and that in itself can cause brain fog. And in terms of the main stress hormone in the brain, cortisol, that's likely to be elevated when we're experiencing brain fog, which again particularly impacts our prefrontal cortex, which is linked to our ability to pay attention and focus and make decisions and make new memories. So you can see how if you're stressed and you've got a lot of different demands and then your cortisol is going up, that's going to impair your cognitive functioning, and is a totally normal response to the amount that we might be trying to deal with.
Are there other hormones that can affect it? I mean, it's a conversation that a lot of women in the perimenopause or menopausal stage will talk about, that, you know, they feel particularly they're experiencing brain fog. Is that something, you know, different that comes under the same heading, or what?
Yeah, I would say it comes under the same heading because absolutely there are some physical health causes that can be linked to brain fog. And I know there's a lot of literature on different hormonal changes, particularly around menopause and perimenopause in that transitional period, as well as certain medications, thyroid deficiencies. I know there's also evidence coming out around long COVID as well as vitamin deficiencies. But yeah, in terms of what else is happening in the brain, as well as the main stress hormone cortisol, we've got lots of different neurotransmitters which are responsible for sending those signals between the neurons in our brain. And a lot of those are implicated in brain fog. So you've got acetylcholine, which is important for attention and learning and memory, and that's typically lower, as well as dopamine that most of us have probably heard of, which is linked to reward and motivation and drive. That's typically associated with being lower when we're experiencing brain fog.
Right. Well, what Kate wants to know, and I guess what we all want to know, is can you do anything about it? Can you alleviate brain fog?
Yeah, well, I think what Kate said at the start, some of the answers may well be in the experience she described there, because I think some of the key things that can help is, number one, and I say this to every patient I work with, is really prioritising sleep. That's just the building blocks for all cognitive function. And I know it's incredibly difficult if Kate's a mum to a young kid and also running a business, but where possible, trying to prioritise between 7 and 9 hours sleep, if you can, it can make such a big difference. I'd also say that routine can be really helpful. If you're trying to multitask, having that predictability and having reminders and a bit of structure to your day can also just reduce that cognitive load that you're otherwise carrying around in your brain as you're trying to attend to other things.
Mm-hmm. Kate, how's your sleep?
A little bit mixed, yeah.
Do you get 7 to 9 hours a night?
No, I would say I don't, definitely not.
I mean, how much less sleep do you get than the optimum, George, for it to affect your function? I mean, because you do get people who say, I only need 5 hours a night.
Yeah, I think everyone's different, but I would say that the evidence is that if you're consistently getting under 7 hours sleep, then you are going to fall into a state of sleep deprivation, and that is going to increase your chance of other physical and mental health issues arising over time if you're chronically getting less than 7 hours, which I know so many people are.
Right, so that's your number one. Kate, you regular getting under 7?
Well, it's something to aim for, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Well, I think that might be where to start. So sleep's the main one, George. A bit of routine, anything else?
Yeah, I think probably another obvious one is just trying to reduce stress in general. So if there is any particular regular repeated stressor in your life, just thinking about if there is anything within your control to try and manage that. Because again, that chronic stress is going to flood the brain and the body with cortisol that's going to affect that cognitive functioning. And if you can't necessarily deal with the stressor itself, then thinking about things like hobbies, having breaks from screens, because we're always on screens now, as well as things for some people like mindfulness, trying to be in the present moment, or deep breathing exercises can also, there's evidence that can also help reduce stress. Yeah,
I guess, it's giving yourself a break, isn't it? Because when you do have an episode of brain fog or whatever, you tend to sort of beat yourself up and say, oh my goodness, I've forgotten this, why am I doing this? Whereas, an acknowledgement that you've just given us, George, that everyone's brain can become overwhelmed because you're just asking too much of it, then it's not something wrong with you. It's an external situation that needs to be dealt with. And I think even from a stress point of view, hopefully that kind of brings things down a little bit, in that there's nothing wrong with you. You're just having a very natural response to a very busy life, Anyway, listen, thank you very much, Dr. George Baldwin and Kate McKnight. I hope you have a very good night's sleep tonight. 9 hours, the doctor prescribes.